procedure of tray columns. Okay, so with respect to tray columns, the procedure of first we have to find out the maximum and minimum liquid flow rates and vapor flow rates. Okay, then you have to collect the properties. With respect to design of tray columns, the major dimensions that is to be designed are column diameter and column height. Okay, then design of internal vital important internal components like tray, downcomer, then wear plate. These are all the some important things that has to be designed. Okay. So for that we have to define the plate spacing, because this plate spacing, column diameter are interrelated. We discussed last class. So increasing the plate spacing will increase the liquid retained in the particular column. So efficiency will increase. So column diameter will come down. Similarly, and vice versa. Okay. So if you increase the column diameter, your tray spacing will come down. So we can select the trial plate spacing. Then the selected trial plate spacing has to be verified once you found the column diameter. Okay. So to calculate the column diameter, we have to operate the column and safe zone. Okay, or you can say comfortable zone. Okay. So we have discussed the tray stability diagram, that weeping, entrainment, dumping, entrainment flooding, downcomer flooding, how many things we have discussed. So we have to operate the column in the safe zone. Okay. So to that, first we have to find out the fix the plate spacing. Then we have to calculate the flow parameter, and we have to find out the flooding velocity. Okay. So Swodder-Brown's constant you can calculate. From the Swodder-Brown's constant we can find out the flooding velocity. So flooding, from the flooding velocity we can calculate the net area. Okay. So we know that net area is cross-sectional area minus downcomer area. Okay. So here again this downcomer area is a function of LW by DC, where you can say LW is nothing but length of the wear plate, DC is the diameter of the column. Okay, so this LW by DC can be varied from 5% to 15%. Most of the cases you will select it as 12% or 10 to 12%. Okay, so correspondingly this LW by DC will be becomes 0.77. Okay, so the length of the wear plate will be 0.77 times of column diameter. Sorry, LW by DC is 0.77. Okay, I said that this downcomer area can be 5 to 15% of cross-sectional area. Sorry, please correct it. So this downcomer area can be 5 to 15% of your cross-sectional area. So I made a mistake. Okay. So this downcomer area is 12%, means 12% of your column cross-sectional area means your LW by DC will be approximately 0.77. You can easily calculate that by simple trigonometry. Okay, that is also possible. Okay. Then once you calculate the column cross-sectional area, then you can fix the other areas, like you can make a trial plate layout. We can decide the layout of the plate, okay, by fixing the downcomer area, active area, hole size, wear height, those things. Once this layout is being decided, then we have to verify whether this column is operable under safer condition. Okay, so we have to check the weeping rate, then we have to check the plate pressure drop, then we have to check the downcomer backup. Okay, then we have to decide the final layout of the things. Then finally you have to calculate the percentage flooding. Okay, so the percentage flooding, normally the actual velocity will be 80 to 85% of your flooding velocity. Actual operating velocity will be 80 to 85% of your operating velocity. Okay, so sometimes if it is foamy liquids, those cases, then that would be different again. If the liquids are highly foamy, such a cases, you can select 70 to 80% velocity as your flooding velocity. Okay, so the normal non-foaming system, your operating velocity can be 80 to 85% of flooding gas velocity. For foaming system, it can be 70 to 80, or sometimes you can select 65 to 70% of the flooding conditions. Okay. So then for the selected dimensions, once we check the flooding, then you can go for, you can check the entrainment. Finally, you can decide the design. Okay. So last class, I think we have discussed up to estimation of column diameter, I think. Yeah. So we have to calculate the flow parameter. That is FLV is L by G, rho G by rho L power 0.5. So you will get the flow parameter, then fix the tray spacing. So you have to calculate the flow parameter, then fix the tray spacing. Okay, then tray spacing you can assume 45 initially, 45 centimeter to 60 centimeters. Okay, then you can calculate the CSB constant, that is CSB Swardner-Brown constant. Then substitute here, this is liquid surface tension by 20 power 0.2 rho L rho V rho V, you can calculate. So this is the flooding condition. This is the maximum velocity that has to be operated. Okay. So the limitation to use this condition, this Farrand-Matthews or the Swardner-Brown equation, is that the tray spacing can be 0.15 meters. This 1.15 meters to 1 meter. The wear height, that is wear height HW, is 15% of 0.15 times of tray spacing. Okay, so if it is sieve plate, then perforations can be 13 mm. Normally we can go for 1 mm to 25 mm. Most of the cases we will go to 4 to 6 mm. Okay, so that has to be you can fix 4 to 6 mm. Sometimes you can, so here the limitation is it should be less than 13 mm. Okay, and the found value of and the estimated value of CSB is valid only if whole area to active area is greater than or equal to 0.1. Otherwise, this AH by A has to be corrected for by 0.9 and 0.8, where AH by A is 0.08 and 0.06. This is the way. Okay. So then for then once you found this, then we have to decide the tray things, length of the tray, those things. Okay. So for single pass tray, we know that AN is equal to AC minus AD. Active area is AC minus 2 times of AD plus some other factors, column beams, vapor liquid, peripheral wastages, portions for vapor liquid disengagement, portions to for beam supports, those things. Okay, column diameter is higher, so you have to account all these things. Okay. So we know that increasing the tray spacing will decrease the diameter, and also it increases the tray efficiency. Okay, so if the tray spacing increases, the tray efficiency increases, the number of tray will come down. Okay, but your tray spacing, as we increase the tray spacing, the height of the tray increases. So the for tray spacing for diameter less than 1 meter column, we can select 0.2 to 0.3 meters. For diameter greater than 1 meter, it can be 0.3 to 0.6 meter as initial things. Okay. So once it is being done, then we have to check the liquid entrainment. So liquid entrainment means the amount of liquid taken by the vapor that is estimated at the upper tray of the column. So you have n trays. So the topmost tray, you have to check the kg of liquid droplets entrained per kg of glass liquid flow. Okay, so again you can use the same flow parameter L by G root of rho G by rho L power 0.5. Okay, so here this is y-axis represents the fractional entrainment, that is moles of liquid entrained per moles of glass flow of liquid. Okay, glass liquid flow. So here you can select the percentage of flooding. So you for sieve plate and bubble cap, you have two different types of lines. Okay, so the continuous line indicates for sieve plate, the dotted line indicates for bubble cap plates. So L by G calculate, then fix whether it is a sieve tray or bubble cap tray, then fix the percentage of flooding 90%. Okay, so you can hit it and you can find out. Normally this value will be less than 0.1. That's the condition. Okay, 1%. Fraction is 10.1 kg per kg of glass liquid flow, you can say. That's the value. Or moles per moles of glass liquid flow. Both are same. Okay. So once this entrainment is being checked, then we have to do the design trial plate. Okay, so the we have to decide the layout of the tray. Okay, so the height of the ware decides the liquid over the tray. So this is your tray, this is your cell. Okay, so this is your downcomer, this is your ware plate. Okay, so the liquid will come and it will go. So this is called HW, height of the ware plate. So this HW will decide the amount of liquid over the tray. If you see like this, if you visualize, this is the ware plate. Okay, so this is your HW. Okay, so the liquid will flow like this. This is your downcomer. Okay, so it will flow like this. Is HW. So normally this is nothing but a simple rectangular plates, straight rectangular plates. Okay, so the bubble cap tray normally we will use V-notch type of ware plates. So sieve cap means sieve plate means you can use the simple rectangular straight plates. Okay, so bubble cap plates means you have to minimize the fluctuation. So you, because already it has so many bubble caps, it has some height. Okay, so you have riser and you have cap, those things. Okay, so to minimize the fluctuations, we need V-notch type of plates. Okay, so the ware length LW, as I said, it has to be 60 to 85% of downcomer. A downcomer area is 5 to 15% of the column cross sectional area. So LW by DC can be 0.77, which means 60 to 85%. So 5% means 60, 15% means 85%. So LW by DC, here you can see LW by DC vary from 0.6 to almost 0.85. This is the maximum. So if you increase the LW by DC, this AD by AC also increases. So for 0.77 means this point. So here you will get approximately 12% of the cross sectional area. Okay. So the ware height normally very small for sieve tray columns. It will be around 1 to 2 inches. But for bubble cap column, as I said, you have to calculate this HW is equal to HSC, that is skirt clearance, then HSR, then slot height, then static submergence. So I said this static submergence HSS is function of pressure, operating pressure. Normally, if the column is this HSS value will be 0 if P equal to 0. That's not possible. So HSS can be 0.5 inches or you can say 12.5 mm if it is operated at 1 atmospheric pressure. It can be 25 mm. You can select if pressure is 7 to 8 atmospheric pressure. This HSS is 37.5 mm if pressure is 20 to 35 atmospheric pressure. Okay, this is static submergence. So this is your riser, this is your cap, this is your tray deck. Okay, so this is skirt clearance, this is round ring, this is your slat. So here you have a wire press. So this is HW is calculated like this. Okay, so HW is 40 mm to 90 mm for above atmospheric pressure, 6 to 12 mm for vacuum conditions. Okay, so in the newer designs, they are avoiding the inlet wear to avoid the hydraulic jumper. Okay, so if you increase the HW, what will happen? The amount of liquid retained in the tray will increase. Your vapor liquid interfacial area or dispersion will be more, so effective mass transfer will be there. So the efficiency will be more. Okay, so but provided there will be a higher pressure drop. So amount of liquid present in the tray is more, means your delta P will also. So increase the LW will increase the diameter of the column. Okay. So this is the idea to verify the tray dynamics. Okay. So next is V point. So V point means that is the minimum velocity. Okay. So lower limit of operating range, liquid leakage through the plate. So we know that V point. In tray stability diagram, when you operate the column at a lower vapor flow rate, what will happen? The vapor doesn't have energy to overcome the liquid, so it won't flow through the holes, sieves, or through the riser. Okay, so those times what will happen? The liquid will take least resistant path. It won't flow across the tray. So as we have holes with less energy vapor, so the liquid will dominate this vapor and flow through the holes. So that point is called V point. So we should not operate the column at V point. Okay. So this is these are all the things that we know. This is your tray spacing. This is two trays. That is tray spacing. This HB is downcomer backup. Okay. Amount of liquid height in the downcomer. This is HAP as HAPron, that is bottom edge of the apron plate to the tray. The gap between the bottom edge of the apron plate to the tray is called HAPron. This HW is the height of the wear plate. This HOW is nothing but amount of liquid, liquid crust over the wear plate. So normally here this is the ideal case. This will not be like this. So if this is liquid backup in the downcomer, normally the liquid will flow like this. Okay. So this is the HO. This is called HOW. Liquid crust over the wear plate. This is the liquid crust over the wear plate. So you have to calculate this HOW also. Okay. So here this minimum design vapor velocity is calculated using this equation. This is called Edulge's equation. Name of this equation is Edulge's equation. So to calculate this one, we need the value of K. This value of K should be known. Okay. So the K is equal to, sorry, minimum hole velocity is K2 minus 0.9 times of 25.4 minus DH. So the limitation is that the DH cannot go beyond 25.4 mm. Okay, divided by density. So here HW we have already selected. So HOW we have to find out. Okay, that's one more thing. HOW, that is liquid crust over the wear plate. So if you know these things, then if you know the value, the corresponding K value you can find out and substitute. You can calculate the minimum vapor velocity. How to calculate this HW? So here we have one equation that's called Francis formula. So here you have one more equation that's called Francis formula. Or you can say this is as like from Bernoulli's equation you can obtain this equation. So wear plate, okay, over flow through open channels like dams, open channels. Okay, so to measure the flow rate, if you use the Bernoulli's equation, you can get this type of equations. This is called Francis formula. So HOW is 750 times of LW by OL LW. Okay, LW is wear length, where capital LW is the liquid flow rate, HOW is amount of liquid crust over the wear plate. Okay, this is your wear plate. Okay, so the liquid will be like this. This is your HOW. Okay, so as I said, the hole size can be 2.5 mm to 12 mm. Plate thickness, you can select 3.8 times of DH. Okay, 2.5 DH to 5 times of DH, where DH is diameter of the hole. So thickness of the plate to die of the hole is 0.4 to 0.7. Okay, P by D is 0.4 to 0.7. Okay. So using this, you can calculate the HOW. So once it is being done, next we have to check it. Okay. So normally this HOW, when you calculate this, you have to take LW, no? So this LW normally will be calculated based on turn down ratio. So turn down ratio, we know that minimum flow rate to maximum flow rate, that is the range. So turn down ratio will define the range, at what range you can operate this. Okay, so this LM normally LW you can select 0.7 times of the maximum. Okay, 0.7 times of the maximum. So you can calculate the minimum HOW, that minimum HOW you can use it. Okay, so once you know the HOW, you can calculate HW plus HOW, calculate the K, substitute the K in the Hidalgo's equation, calculate the minimum hole velocity. Okay, so the minimum hole velocity should be the hole velocity, operating velocity should be actual velocity should be greater than the minimum velocity. That's the case. So you have to operate the vapor velocity above this value, because this is the minimum. If it goes below this, what will happen? Weeping is possible. Okay, so you have to avoid the weeping. Okay. So once it is being done, next we have to check the tray pressure drop. That's very important. Okay, so tray pressure drop has 3 different components. Apart from these, you can add the inlet and outlet nozzle pressures. Normally they are very small, so you can neglect them. Okay, so the delta P total is nothing but delta P inlet nozzle plus this delta P per tray. Delta P per tray, pressure drop in the tray into number of trays. Number of tray plus delta P in the outlet nozzle. Okay, so normally this delta P inlet nozzle, delta P outlet nozzle will be very small, but the delta P total is contributed majorly by the delta P in each tray. So each tray you have to calculate this delta P tray, and it has to be multiplied by number of trays. Okay, so the delta P in each tray has 3 different components. One is called delta P tray, which means that when the column is not operated, if you allow only vapor flow through the columns, okay, what will happen? Okay, so it will it's like a single phase flow. Okay, so the gas flow through the orifice. This will are like orifice. Momentum transfer you might have studied. So this is your pipe. Here you have orifice plate. The liquid will flow, fluid will flow like this. So orifice. So you need some orifice coefficient to calculate these things. Okay. So this when only the vapor flows through the column through the holes, you can estimate the pressure drop. Okay, that's a dry pressure drop. Another one is delta P created due to amount of liquid retained in the column. Okay, HW or you can say HT So this is sum of so many things. So that is this HW plus HOW, those things. This is the amount of liquid retained in the column. Another one is residual pressure drop, because when the vapor goes at higher velocity, what will happen? It will take some amount of liquid. Okay, so there will be liquid that is called residual pressure drop due to high vapor velocity. So what will happen because of this high energy of vapor, it will form froth. Okay, so this froth means formation will take over the next tray, over the tray. So some liquid particles are taken by this vapor or entrained by this vapor phase. Hence, additional energy loss is taking place when the liquid droplets are carried by the vapors. Okay, so that is calculated using that is H residual. Okay, so this delta P total is 9.8 or Hg rho, you can say Hg rho, where H is in mm, so this has to be 10 power minus 3. 9.81 is the G. 9.81 meter per second square. Then H is in meter because of 10 power minus 3. This is kg per meter. So how to calculate this dry pressure drop? You need the value of C0 or Riepy's coefficient. Okay. So HD you have to find out. So HD is dry head or head pressure head in the tray due to vapor rises through the perforations, okay, on the dry plate. So that is HD. Okay, so here you have AH, that is whole area to perforated area, AH by AP. Then this is a plate thickness to hole diameter, that we know, that is 0.4 to 0.7. Okay, 0.4 to 0.7. Then if you know this AH by AP, you can calculate the value of C0. Okay, you can calculate the value of C0. Normally this AH by AP or AH by AA is almost 0.1 times. So AH whole area to perforated area are approximately equal to your value of whole area AH by AA, active area. So that is approximately 0.1. Most of the times you can say 0.1. It varies from this percentage, correct? So it can be 0.1 to 0.2 times. Okay. So AH by AA. So both are same. So you can calculate the C0. So this is whole velocity. Okay. The C0 you calculated, rho V, rho L known. So you can calculate HD. So this residual pressure drop, that is delta P occurs, vapor rises through the floor of residual delta P, that is formation of froth and due to entrainment of liquid through the successive trays. Okay, that you can say 12.5 mm. Okay, so that is the residual pressure drop. Once you calculate this, then you can calculate the total pressure drop. That is so here you have to calculate VH, correct? So VH, how you calculate the VH? VH is QV, that is vapor velocity by whole area. Okay, that is whole area. Correct? Using that you can calculate this velocity. Sorry, this pressure drop. Okay. So this is the way to calculate. So once you know the particular tray pressure drop, you have to multiply the number of trays, that will give the total pressure drop in the column. Once it is being done, then you have to go for downcomer design. Downcomer backup you have to design. So this can be a straight downcomer or you can say a segmental downcomer. So this AD is 0.12 times of AC. Okay. So here first you have to calculate the HDC. So to calculate the HB, you need all this terminologies. HW is the wear plate height. HOW is nothing but amount of liquid crust over the wear plate. Okay, this HW, this is HOW, so this is HT, this sum of these two, then HDC. So HDC is our head loss in the downcomer. HDC is head loss in the downcomer. So you can use this equation to calculate the HDC. Okay. So here this liquid backup in the downcomer is calculated like this. Here this LMD is liquid flow rate in the downcomer. LWD or LMD is liquid flow rate in the downcomer, where AM is the mean area. So this mean area is nothing but either downcomer area AD or clearance area under the downcomer apron. So whichever is smaller you have to calculate. Okay, whichever is smaller you have to calculate. So if you see the tray, so this is your downcomer plate. Okay, so this is your apron, this is your H apron. Okay, the bottom of the apron plate to the tray, HAP. Okay, so HAP is it's like a rectangular portion. Okay, so you have to calculate the AAP. HAP into LW will give the AAP. So you know the downcomer area AD, and you have to calculate AP. AP is HAP into LW, length of the wear plate. Okay, so HAP, what is HAP? HAP normally HW minus 5 to 10 mm, height of the bottom edge of the apron above the plate, that is HAP. Okay, so apron is nothing but a portion of the plate which extends down below the plate from the outlet bar is called apron. Okay, so then you can calculate the HB by substituting all these values. Okay, then this density of froth, royal or ROF, you can calculate. This can be is 0.4 to 0.7 times of your density of the liquid, royal. Okay. Okay. So the density of froth, ROF, is 0.4 to 0.7 times of your ROF. Okay, mostly approximately they will select 0.5 times of ROF. Okay, so but this HB, this value should not be greater than this LT plus half of LT plus HW. That's the point. So your HB should not be greater than half of LT plus HW. That's the important point. At any cost, the amount of liquid retained in the downcomer should not be greater than the half of this value. Okay. So once you have calculated this, you can go for residence time. So this residence time normally will be 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. So minimum can be 3 seconds. Minimum residence time required in the downcomer is 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. So how will you calculate this? This is AD into HBC into rho L by this LWD, liquid flow rate in the downcomer. Okay. So once it is being done, then you have to calculate the efficiency. So efficiency normally should be minimum should be 0.5 you can select, or maximum greater than 0.5. This efficiency of the tray normally depends on system composition and properties, then flow rate, then geometry of the tray. So you have so many methods, are AICH methods, then Van Winkel's method. Okay, different methods are there. Okay, so this Van Winkel method can be applicable to both sieve tray column and bubble cap column. Okay, so the efficiency of the tray normally will be selected greater than 0.5. So this is the design procedure of tray columns. So if you have any doubts, please ask. So this is the complete design of tray column. If you have any doubts, please ask.
Sir, can you give like summary of like whole process, sir, once more?
Consolidation you want? Yeah. So first you have to do the material balance equations. Okay. From the material balance, energy balance, material balance, you have to find out the flow rates. Okay. So what is the flow rate? Whether it is based on the operations, it's absorption process or distillation, whatever may be. If it is absorption means you have to calculate the solvent flow rate. L by G minimum you have to calculate. L by G minimum, if you know, then you can calculate L by G actual. So if you know the L by G actual, then you can calculate the number of stages. So this process up to this you have studied in mass transfer. Number of stages you can calculate from equilibrium data, so many things. Okay. So once you know this, then you have to select a type of column. Okay, whether it is a sieve tray column or bubble cap column. Okay. Then the design of column means you have to find out the column diameter first. Okay, so here column diameter and tray spacing are very much interrelated. So most of the times we will assume the tray spacing, then we will validate the selected tray spacing is suitable for the selected diameter. Okay, so column diameter is calculated based on the flooding velocity of vapor. Okay, so because flooding is the inoperable condition of the column, so we have to operate the column below this velocity. So we have to find out the flooding velocity. So once you calculate the flooding velocity from flow parameters and capacity parameters, okay, then this flood, you have to find out the operating velocity, that is approximately 0.8 to 0.85 times of your flooding velocity. Okay, so once you know the operating velocity, you can decide the layout of the column. Okay, so you can decide the net area, you can calculate the downcomer area, you can fix it. Okay, so LW by DC is fixed. If you fix the downcomer area, your length of the wear plate column, this the diameter of the column is fixed. Okay, so we have a range. So LW by DC can be 0.6 to 0.85, then downcomer area can be 5 to 15%. Okay, so once you decide this layout, okay, we have to check the other parameters like weeping point, entrainment. Okay, those things we have to check because weep is the low velocity, entrainment that is to be restricted to 0.1. Okay, so flooding velocity, operating velocity, weeping point, then entrainment. All these points we have to check. Once it is being checked out, then we have to check the tray pressure drop. We have to find out the tray pressure drop. Okay, because the tray pressure drop is the major contributor to the column pressure drop. Okay, so each individual tray we have three different components. One is the dry plate pressure drop, then the liquid vapor liquid dispersion. Okay, then third one is entrainment of pressure drop due to entrainment of liquid droplets. All these three you have to account. Okay, so once you calculate that, then you have to check the downcomer. You have to validate the downcomer design. You have to check the downcomer backup. Okay, so this downcomer backup means you have to check this HB that should be that should not be greater than your LT plus HW by 2. Okay, so how to calculate this HB? HB is nothing but HW plus HOW plus HT plus HDC. Okay, so this HDC is calculated using the equation 166 times of LMD by rho LAM power square. Okay, rho LAM square. Okay, that's the here this AM means mean area, so that can be downcomer area or apron area. Whichever is smaller, that you have to select it. So downcomer area we know that is 0.12 times of DC. Okay. So this another is apron area, that is H apron. Normally that is the gap between the bottom edge of the apron plate to the tray deck. Okay. So this HW, the H apron is normally HW minus 5 to 10 mm. Okay, so you know the H apron. So area of apron is H apron into this length of the plate, wear plate. Okay, or apron plate. Okay, so that would be like length of the wear plate. So whichever is smaller, you can select. Okay. So then once you calculate the know the value of HB, that is should not be greater than half of LT plus HW. So why we are doing this? So this is to avoid the downcomer plugging. Okay. Then you have to check the residence time. So you have to give the minimum residence time in the downcomer, because then only the vapor liquid disengagement will take place properly, because we know the functions of downcomer. The top portions of the downcomer are normally used for vapor liquid disengagement, and the bottom portion of the downcomer will help to flow of clear liquid. Then you have to check the efficiency. This is the design procedure, general design procedure. Okay. So next class we will solve one problem, then we move to packed column. Okay. Shall we stop at this point?
Okay, sir.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.